My name is Sophie. I'm 19 years old, and if you asked anyone around me, they'd probably say I'm just an ordinary girl from a small town in Texas. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that love can be the sweetest dream, and at the same time, the sharpest knife you'll ever feel. I used to believe love was all about butterflies, long walks, and sweet promises whispered late at night. That was before I met Daniel. He was charming in a way that almost felt unreal, tall, confident, and the kind of guy who could make a whole room pay attention without even trying. But what made him different wasn't just his looks. It was the way he made me feel like I was the only girl in the world. Our story began at the coffee shop near campus. I was working part-time, wiping tables on a rainy afternoon, when he walked in, dripping wet from the storm outside. He smiled at me, and I swear the entire cafe seemed brighter. He ordered a hot chocolate instead of coffee. That small detail always stayed with me, because it was so different, so warm, so soft. Just like the version of him I fell for. That day turned into many more. Study sessions at the library. Late-night drives with the windows rolled down. And those endless conversations where time disappeared. With Daniel, I laughed more than I ever had. And for the first time in my life, I thought I had found my forever. But forever can change. The first signs were small. A little jealousy when I talked to my guy friends. A quick temper when I didn't reply fast enough to his messages. At first, I brushed it off. I told myself, he just cares about me, that's all. It's normal. But soon, his questions turned into accusations. His care turned into control. Who were you texting? Why didn't you pick up the phone? Do you even love me the way I love you? Those words, once sweet, now cut deep. I tried to reassure him, to calm his doubts, but every time I did, I felt a piece of myself breaking away. I remember one night vividly. We were sitting in his car under the stars. I thought it would be romantic, but instead, he grabbed my hand so tightly it hurt. His eyes weren't soft anymore. They were burning with something I couldn't recognize. Sophie, he said, you belong to me. Don't ever forget that. I wanted to smile, to believe he meant it in a loving way. But deep down, my heart whispered a warning I didn't want to hear. Still I stayed. Because love makes you blind. I told myself he was just insecure, that he would change. I remembered his laughter, his warmth, the way he once made me feel like the most special girl alive. I held on to those memories like a drowning person holds onto a piece of driftwood, hoping it would keep me afloat. But the truth is, love isn't supposed to drown you. The turning point came one evening at a college party. I had gone with my best friend Lily. Daniel wasn't there, and for once I felt free. I laughed, danced, and for the first time in months, I felt like myself again. But then my phone buzzed. Dozens of missed calls. Angry texts from Daniel demanding to know where I was, who I was with, why I hadn't told him. By the time I stepped outside to call him back, his voice was already filled with rage. He accused me of betraying him, of embarrassing him, of breaking his trust. My hands shook as I tried to calm him down. But no matter what I said, it wasn't enough. That night, I realized something terrifying. Daniel didn't love me. He wanted to own me. And that's when love truly began to hurt. The days that followed were heavy. He showed up unannounced at my classes, checked my phone when I wasn't looking, and made me feel guilty for even breathing without him. My world, once colorful, had turned into shades of gray. I cried in silence, afraid to tell anyone, because how could I explain it? People saw Daniel as the perfect boyfriend. He was handsome, smart, polite when others were around. Nobody knew the storm that lived behind his smile. But Lily noticed. One afternoon, she pulled me aside and said softly, "Sophie, you're not the same anymore. He's breaking you." Those words hit me harder than anything Daniel had ever said. Because she was right. I had lost my laughter, my confidence, my freedom. I wasn't Sophie anymore. I was just a shadow of the girl I used to be. That night, I stared at my reflection in the mirror and whispered to myself, "This isn't love. This is pain." And that was the moment I knew I had to walk away. Leaving wasn't easy. My hands trembled as I typed the final message, telling him it was over. His replies came fast, begging, pleading, threatening, apologizing, all in the same breath. For hours, my phone lit up with his words, but I didn't answer. For the first time, I chose myself. The next morning, I felt something I hadn't in a long time: peace. Not complete, not perfect, but the first tiny spark of freedom. It's been months since then, and the scars still remain. Some nights I wake up from dreams of him calling my name. Some days I wonder if I'll ever be able to trust love again. But here's what I've learned. When love hurts, it isn't love anymore. Real love doesn't break you. It builds you. It doesn't chain you down. It sets you free. And maybe someday, I'll find that kind of love. But for now, I'm learning to love myself. The girl who once believed love was everything. The girl who almost lost herself. The girl who finally found the courage to walk away. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go.